Hi everybody, so I'm Vicky Hanna and we are going to be doing a part 2 right now, which is a skills assessment. We've got a couple of learners that are going to be doing the role play, and I'm just going to pop this up now and share the document, which is the role play that we'll be doing. And we'll get this sent out to everyone as a helpful resource. Why is that not? I have to go in and open that up again for us, Naya. Let me just. Okay, so just this part here is just covering a summary of both. Which at diploma level, it's cluster unit CHCCDEV007 and CHCDEV005. And when we combine them together, they're referred to as clustered units. They remain clustered even when you go into your work placement, regardless of when that is for you. So there are 3 tasks. Task 1 is quiz, questions and answers. Task 2 is research project, and you'll select one topic from the list. That is in your instructions under T2 or task 2. And task 3 has 2 parts, A and B, and it's a role play. In part A, you are the worker and your client is Maria, played by a peer or a colleague. And part B, you are the worker and your supervisor is Michael, also played by a peer. It can be a colleague from your work placement. Sometimes when people do role plays, they just grab Auntie Mary and Uncle Harry, and that is great. And even if they're reading off a script, we don't really mind because we're not assessing them. What we must have is everybody to be on the screen at the same time. Now, that won't happen tonight with Naya and Zoe because we are cloud recording. When you're doing your recording, you will need to make sure that you have it's set in gallery. If you're using Zoom, you'll be able to do that. But I am here, so this is assessor-led and live. So I get to see both Naya and Zoe at the same time, and I will be assessing in real time. So it's not essential, but if you're doing a recording, know that we must have all participants showing on our screen. The reason being is that I need to capture that non-verbal, the nuances and the responses with your client. How are they engaging with you? Are you reading their non-verbal cues? And I need to be able to assess those micro skills. And to do that, I need to get the response from the client as well. I want to see if we've got eye contact. I want to see if your body language leans in when you're actively listening. I want all of those things to be able to assess you on. So just a summary of each of those units. The first one is analyse impacts of sociological factors on people in community work and services. So that's yourself, your peers, your stakeholders, and your clients. So the performance evidence that I look for is in part the role play, which we're going to see done tonight. And it's to present your learnings from task 2, and the concept will be evident there with the client. The client in this one is called Maria. Part B of the performance evidence is 100 hours, and that's practical in the workplace. So you'll provide community services in the workplace to at least 3 people, both based on that socio-cultural information that we had in our list. In task 2, you'll do a bit more research. Monitor and review the effectiveness. How's your program going? Is it being well received? Is it filling an unmet need in your community? Have you hit that mark that you hoped it would do when you're working with the clients? And how are you going to measure that? And also, you'll need to go to your supervisor in the workplace and get their feedback on how you're going. Even if you don't get to deliver a program, you'll still write the program hypothetically. You will interview some young people because that's going to be who you're placed with, and you'll go to your supervisor and say, tell me what you think about this idea. Do you think this would be good? And if there's feedback, then add that and review and improve what it is that you're designing. And then, of course, perform those activities in real time in the workplace. And you may be currently working in the sector. If not, we will place you in the sector within distance from where you are living in your postcode, preferably. We don't want it to be a hardship for anyone. When do we do our work placement? Sorry, is usually about 50% through. So if you're going through your assessment tasks, please do not leave your role plays or cherry pick through your assessments, because if you've got unfinished, it's never a full unit, which means I can't ever assess if you're 50% through. So you might feel like you've done 50% of the whole 21 units that you have to get a diploma level. But if you haven't completed any unit, it will always show as in progress. So I need 50% completed assessment units to be able to say, I want you to go out into the workplace. Now, some people will want to do work placement earlier. If you have got 4 units completed and you think that going into work placement early and you have the availability of time, if you think it will help you with your studies, I will support you in that. Okay, so I want you to know that if you go, well, I don't really want to wait, I want to get a feel for it now, please reach out to me and let me know, and I'll give you all that info at the end. So your knowledge evidence is really major social and cultural institutions in Australian society, what contributes to the effects and consequences of their role in society. So taking their rightful place in the community. And this applies to young people. Our role play is a young person. Maria is 18 years of age. And when we work with youth, we work with early intervention, 9 and 10-year-olds, maybe even moving into 11-year-olds. And then we work with 12 to 24, which is what we consider as youth. And we expand that up to Gen Y, 34 years of age, because most of our clients we work with at 34 have young children. So we're doing, again, the early intervention prevention space. And by helping that parent, we are helping those young people in an early intervention way. However, our 34-year-old parents who often present towards have some incident or some complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and they are working at their full capacity. When everything is fine, it's fine. However, some of the young parents are struggling, and they struggle because whatever happened to them when they were still young. So it's the young person that's stuck in the parenting frame. So their problem solving might be 16-year-old or 17-year-old, and that's why it starts to unravel for some young parents who may end up being our clients. So we don't separate child, youth, and family from the work that we do, but the young person will always be our primary client. Okay, and then the other people in their story, their alliance circle, we will try and build bridges, sometimes by helping the parents when they leave. That means the young person is going to get greater support. So we might only work with the young person once a week for 6 weeks or 6 months or 12 months. Depends on what role that you're actually doing. But in the meantime, it's the families and carers of those young people that need to continue with that support. So we try and work collaboratively with them, or we try and work with the other workers in the community, those stakeholders, and form an alliance circle or a wraparound support for them as well. So we look at our own policies and procedures, and we give you first access as your platform to work with. Even if you are working in the sector, it is the first access platform and dashboard that you log into, and it gives you policies, procedures, it gives you templates, even email templates, consent forms, referral forms. It tells you everything that you need to do. It even gives you hypothetical colleagues to work with, and all the different roles that First Access as your hypothetical organisation provides. So by working with their dashboard, you are in fact duplicating what you would be doing in the workplace. Okay, so we have our internal systems where we get hold of our documents and policies and procedures. So you need to demonstrate your skills both in the workplace and simulated, which is what we're doing with Zoe and Naya tonight. And then breaking down the 007, that is to develop and implement the service programs. So the research that you did in task 2, you will apply in part just one of those topics in the role play in how you approach the client. And in your work placement, you will have that knowledge to take forward with you as well. So your evidence is you will have already designed a program. What resources are you going to be wrapping around Maria? What systems and procedures do you need to factor in? Is there government agencies? Are there protocols in your workplace? You'll want to get some feedback from Maria and also from stakeholders. And we're going to do a debrief. It will be your own self-reflection, and your peers from class are going to ask you some questions. Out of curiosity, what topic did you pick in task 2? How did you think that fitted in with Maria? What would you do differently now you've done your research? They're the kind of questions that we want to ask both Zoe and Naya. What would we do differently now that you've got that underpinning knowledge? So with the role play, you will play the worker and your client is Maria, or with Naya and Zoe, you can use your own names here if you choose to, but the background is this. So Maria has very high and complex issues, young person 18, and your task 2 will have likely selected at least one of the presenting in issues, and the psychache that we want Maria to come in with will be what is impacting Maria, what's happened to you, and our role as that worker. The second part of this is someone will play your supervisor, and I have an observation checklist. And here's where the rest of the class fit in, is peers. So if you're doing this independently, which you can, this is not assessor-led, you will be asked to do a peer review with each other. Just record that in class. Make sure that you ask the questions that we're going to ask in class tonight. Just some self-reflection. How do you think you went? What might you do? What might you want to do for Maria if you spent more time with Maria? This is your very first session with Maria. You have no other history other than what's provided for in the instructions. So I'll just briefly jump out of here. I will also send you this document to guide you. This will come with you with your recording as well. So I just will pause there. Pause. Okay, so I'm back recording, and I just wanted to make this a helpful resource tool. So with the instructions, you can see here at the top, and you'll see this in your porthole, it says here clustered assessment. It's got the name of both of the units, but it says here T3 of 5. So at the beginning of our class, we spoke about T stands for task. So there are 3 tasks. And then when you go into work placement, there's another 2, T4 and T5. So when you come to open this up under T3, task 3, it will give you a link to take you into First Access. That is where your dashboard is. Your username will be given to you there. I encourage you to copy and paste this and keep that in on a Word document and drop it into your folder when you begin your studies, so that you are going to go in this at least 70 times throughout your diploma. So copy and paste this. This is going to get you in there nice and quickly. You have to be in your porthole to open it up. So your First Access, when you click on that link, it'll take you in there. It'll ask for your username, Hayter Institute, your password, Hayter123456. You'll need that each and every time. So with the instructions in Part A, you will be observed. So your assessor. Now, if you do this in real time in class, I am assessing Zoe and Naya tonight. However, if you do this separately, like Rachel and Ricky are going to do tomorrow, then you'll record that, and your recording will get uploaded into your porthole, and any assessor will mark that. So if you need to have an assessor with you in real time, it will tell you. The instructions will say that. Otherwise, it'll tell you who to do that with. Now, every role play that's done with someone who hasn't got underpinning knowledge and skills usually gets sent back. That's why I encourage you to do this with peers from class in your own time. Of course, you don't have to do that at all in class if you choose not to. So there are role play instructions. I'll click on that and take you there shortly. But it is the person playing Maria. And the instructions are to give to Maria and the person, of course, playing Michael. So you will also, at the end of your role play in class tonight or in your recording, if you do this in your own time, you will need to answer some questions relating to the meeting that you had with Maria. That has to be in the recording. So the resources you need, you'll need a consent to collect and share information. You'll need to ask Maria consent. You'll have read through the privacy and confidentiality policies and procedures. You will go through housing and homelessness policy and procedure. That's got its code in there, and you'll find all of that in your First Access site. The code of conduct, that's how you conduct yourself as a worker, policy and procedure. And then also you'll look at their policy and procedure on domestic and family violence. So there's coexisting needs, plus now here's the complexity. You'll look at the policy and procedure on dependence and addiction. And in your research, homelessness, low socioeconomic group, young people, housing and homelessness, that substance misuse, they are some of the topics. You can select one and you'll do that in task 2 as your research. So we bring those into this space now because we're going to do the skills assessment. So you'll need your video recording. Some people use Zoom. You've got Zoom free for 40 minutes. And just record it on your own device. If you are recording it, make sure that when you've got your visual, that you've got it in gallery mode. Gallery would keep everyone on the screen at the same time for you. So here's the scenario. So Maria is an 18-year-old female who dropped out of high school to work part-time at a local factory. She has a boyfriend called Lachlan, who is 27 years of age. As we start to read the instructions, we write a couple of points here about what information do I need. This is your intake and assessment, and we give you this information. If you play Maria, you need to be Maria. If you play the worker, you need to pitch to Maria based on this information. So they've been together for about 18 months. So that takes Maria back to 16 and a half. She started this relationship with Lachlan, who is almost 10 years her senior. So we need to consider that. The information's in there for that reason. Maria started using ice when she met Lachlan and is now on the verge of losing her job. She has tried to stop using it too much as she cannot afford to lose her job. However, Lachlan puts pressure on her into using the drug every time he uses it or when his friends come over for a session. Lately, Lachlan has become aggressive when he is on ice, and Maria finds new bruises or cuts on herself every day. So she wakes up in pain and cannot recall what happened. Lachlan just laughs it off and tells her to harden up. Maria has also just found out she is pregnant. She reluctantly tells Lachlan, who does not react well, and threatens to beat her up until she loses the baby. During a recent visit, Maria's GP identified the bruising around her shoulders, ribs, and legs. Maria admits that Lachlan has been beating her up, particularly due to the pregnancy, as she wants to keep the baby. Maria expresses her distress and her fear of not only losing her baby, but what he might do to her if she left him. She knows he would come after her and try and hurt her. Maria wants to be able to support her baby by getting a better job somewhere and considering going back to school on the side if she can. That's Maria's story. So your role now is as a worker with all of these things that she's presenting with. And now your role will be intake, an assessment. You've read a little bit about her. It's okay to say, thank you so much for filling in that little bit of information. And I've gone over it briefly, but I'd like to be able to talk to you about what's happening for you and how I could best help you in our time today. And if you'd like to keep coming back to me, let me explain to you what my role is, that everything you say is private and confidential, and that only if you were at risk of harm, if someone was harming you, would I share any of our information that we discuss in our time together. Do you understand? Once you've got that consent from Maria, or if she's got a few more questions, well, who would you tell? What would you do? We need to listen for that rather than just say it to get it out of the way. She's 18. This could be something we say day in, day out, back-to-back clients, but this could be the first time anyone's ever said this to Maria. And we need to approach this not as quick hurry, let's get this out of the way. How are we engaging with Maria? How are we establishing trust? It's referred to as build rapport. But what's the energy like when the two of you are there? What kind of worker are you going to be for Maria so that she feels comfortable with you in that space? So prior to the role play, I want you to have read these following documents and ensure that you apply any of the procedures that are required by the policy. So I've just given you in action the privacy and confidentiality policy and procedure. We say that at the beginning or very close to the beginning, not like come in, sit down and let's say it. It's like make connection first. Your client will never work with you if they don't trust you. If you rush, if you don't engage with them, if you don't let them sit and get a feel for who you are in that space and you just slide through it as if it's an assessment, I want to get it out of the way, you're almost there, but not quite. I want to hear the pauses. And I want you to feel like she says something and you've got to quickly answer that back. I don't want you solving her problems. I want you asking questions on what would be the priority for Maria, and then what wraparound supports would you like to talk with her about, and together come up with what would be a good plan moving forward. I want you to assess her risk, her current risk right now. Is it low, medium, or high? Is she at risk of harming herself or that baby? I think we've got some mandatory reporting questions here around the most vulnerable person in this story is this unborn child. who has no voice. Her intention is to keep this child. So we now are acting on behalf of that unborn child by helping Maria reach what it is that she would like to reach. If she doesn't, it's quite likely that she may make it full term. She may get to the hospital and give birth to that child, but she will be flagged by health professionals, by you, as a vulnerable person, and so will that child. And it's likely that child safety will also be at the hospital, and the baby won't go home with Maria if Maria cannot provide a safe, supportive, responsible parent environment. So the time that you're working with Maria is about her emotional, her physical, her social, her financial, her psychological well-being. You'll also have read up on the code of conduct, housing, homelessness, etc. Joe, question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because I'm not sure if it's just in Victoria or other states, but with unborn children in Victoria, excuse me, sorry, you can raise a report on an unborn child, so that services work with the mother to try and prevent becoming involved legally after the child's born. Is that
Yes,
just a
and that's
Victorian thing, or is
no,
that
no,
a
that's everywhere. So that's
okay?
what this session is.
Yeah.
She's now, the GP's referred her to First Access. You are that service provider.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the stakeholder in the community
Yeah.
where she will get those wraparound supports. And if the GP, which GPs are meant to be mandatory reporters, but two people can pass through GP and
Yeah.
each will think the other person has done that and they may not have.
Yeah.
So at this stage, whose radar would Maria be on? At the moment, GP only. But if police turned up, they'll have the vulnerable persons unit, depends on what it's called in your state and territory. But if nobody but the GP is involved, then this is it. This is when we do that and we document what we're doing. We come up with a plan, we work with that. And if child safety are part of that, then we can say, this is what we have been doing. Child safety are usually the last ones to find out, not the first ones to find out. So the sector will know more, their friends will know more, and Maria will try and stay below the radar of child safety because the messaging around that is quite negative. In Queensland, there would be someone at the hospital to take the baby.
But wouldn't we want to try and prevent that?
In a perfect world, yes. Does that happen? No.
Okay.
Sadly, no. If Maria only presented as neurodivergent on NDIS, it's likely the same thing would happen.
Yeah. Okay.
If the mother was neurodivergent, there were other children neurodivergent in the family, it is likely that child safety would be there at that hospital.
But if you try and framed it for her that they could work with you to prevent legal them them removing the child or the baby after you have the child, because they can put in those services, would that be better than child protection becoming involved later on?
Always.
Yeah.
But
I know in a perfect
once
world, I know.
an order is put in place,
Yeah.
then the family have to prove that they are fit and proper parents.
Yeah.
So, Hakan, question?
I'm just reading about, I mean, yeah, like looking at this scenario, when it says because of the drugs, you are not always sure if what you think happened actually did. Obviously, she's got bruises, she's got marks, she's got all of that on her body. But when it says that, like she's not sure what's his name? Lachlan is doing the abuse.
No, she's not sure.
So then how would you use mandatory reporting in that situation?
Oh, the mandatory reporting is about the unborn child.
Okay. So
And she is 18, while she might be of legal age. She's still a young person because she's under the age of 24 for us. And she's pregnant. And her intention is that she says she wants to leave. And she's scared of leaving. So now we're dealing with a domestic family violence survivor who happens to be pregnant, who was only introduced by drugs in that relationship, and she's fearful of losing her job. So if we circle back, rather than go in on one, let's see what Zoe and Naya do to find out what their Maria's priority of needs is. Let's see that unpack as well. Maria, question?
I was muted. I was just following up on with what Joe was talking about. We've got scenarios, and same with what Harry was just bringing up. We have had scenarios with the young woman, she was 22, intellectually impaired under NDIS, coming home multiple bruises after absconding, not knowing where they came from. And if even though we knew she was being abused, we would send her to hospital for assessment, she still has the right to refuse. So there was a risk that she was pregnant. She lost the child, but because that's when they found out. So because she still refused treatment, like, it's a really tricky situation when the human rights become involved. But then with a young person who fell pregnant in her resi, she then had child safety take the child away from her, but the foster parent who took the child took the mum as well. So they were both still under child safety, but they allowed them to live together, but child safety had custody of both of them, if that made sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a transition period there that they're hoping for the longer term support and a model around them. And lots of stakeholder engagement and positive parenting programs and all the things that they weren't able to do for themselves before child safety stepped in. Keep in mind, child safety's one aim at all times is, if it is safe to do so, reunification. So taking is sometimes respite. And it doesn't have to be the first 28 days in Queensland. It's not court ordered. You can ask for an extension for another 28 days. But otherwise, once it goes to court, then the government have that legal right, and they could put that order in place for 2 years. And then there's a court case, and if you object to it. So it can be very challenging. Your role will be split between support worker and advocate if child safety come in. Otherwise, it can be very difficult traversing that space. But again, Maria, you're absolutely right. The client has dignity of risk to make those decisions on their own behalf, but the child who doesn't have a voice, the government will step in because they're vulnerable and they're not making informed decisions, or may not have capacity to do that without support from the community. I've got another question hand. Sorry, is the name Owen? Sorry, that's what's up on the screen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yeah, I'm sorry. This is my first day studying with you guys. So like, I'm taking lots of notes for this assignment, but obviously I've got like a few other assignments to do prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused. But hi everyone.
Hi, Owen. So we started at 6,
Yeah.
and we kind of covered all of that at the very beginning.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
So if you want to stay back towards the end of class, I'd be happy to go over that again for you.
Sure, no worries. Yeah, I'm from
Yeah.
Perth, so probably I got here a little bit late. I'm sorry. But
No, don't apologize. We're recording,
yeah.
so you'll be able to get that as well. But just know that I did mention to everybody that's starting tonight that this is a clustered unit and you've
Yep.
come midpoint. So
Oh, okay.
you've come at CHCDEV005, but we have spent the last 3 weeks doing 007. And now where
Oh,
we're
okay.
up to is the skills component. And we have 2 learners tonight who are going to do their role play in real time with an assessor present. And I'm just walking through the description of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
But
Perfect.
some who are starting to are going to just watch and observe, and I'll definitely hang back for you and support you and answer any questions. And then I want you to just be in the space and observe and get a feel for the class, and know that there's absolutely no pressure whatsoever for you to come up with any brilliant answers or anything at all tonight. Just let this happen around you.
Okay.
And 2 of our learners are going to be doing their role play tonight.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah,
Fantastic.
thanks,
So
Vicky.
welcome.
Thank you.
So you'll need to use the following prompts in your discussion. Identify the issues. Ensure you discuss that disclaimer, the privacy, confidentiality. Discuss the client's well-being, health and well-being. So you as the worker need to ask Maria, how is she feeling today? What's the priority? How she feeling about work? So you're getting physical, you're getting psychological, you're getting her fear around her income. She may lose her job. What happens then? She's spending money on substances as well. She's got a lot going on. She's quite a vulnerable young person. Identify what the client's priority of needs are today. Very important point when you're doing your role play. Intake and assessment with our clients, because she may have 2 or 3, and you may have 2 or 3, and you may agree with hers, but you may have one as a higher priority, even though she says the most important thing I want right now is to make sure that I don't lose my job. If she says that, it's up to whoever's playing the role of Maria which way they go here. But your priority of need might be safe emergency housing. And that will help Maria get the other things that she wants done as well. So wherever it goes, you need to have strategies in place, resources that are available in your local area as well. Because if Maria was your client where you live, what is available in emergency housing? What is available for a bulk billing GP? What is available for parenting programs for young parents? Who is her job agency under workplace, like her job agency? Is she being asked to look for other work because she's only working part-time? Is she at risk of being unemployed? What income is she on with Centrelink? What is our role for Maria right now? Priority of needs is where we need to go there. So you're going to together come up with the appropriate services and resources. You may do a referral out. You can't be everything to your client. And then what's a suitable plan, a strategy, and the next steps? Make sure that you get consent from Maria, but it's informed consent. So that means you will have discussed what would be a good way forward. Today in our time, what would be the most important thing? Do you feel safe returning to where Lachlan is? Because if he's already physically assaulting her and she's waking up with new injuries and she's not aware of those things, she is at grave risk. She's at greater increase of risk if she says she's leaving. Even if she doesn't say she's leaving, she's at high risk. So it's your priority of need here is about her safety, even though that may not be how she expresses it for herself. It could be the safety and well-being of her baby. So we'll only know that through our intentional interviewing questions, our motivational interviewing, all our open-ended questions, our who, what, how, when, where, and why. Why have you come in here today? What would you like to most get out of our time together? What would a good plan that we could do together today look like for you? And then you're going to have to use your professionalism and your knowledge based on your research from task 2, what it is that's the best option going forward, and discuss that with Maria. And then leave Maria, if she decides today isn't her day to do that, safely leave Maria with some resources. It might be a domestic family violence service that she could go to a website and find out information. It might be 1-800-RESPECT. If this all happens at 7 o'clock at night and you finish work at 4:30, who is Maria going to speak with? What resources does Maria have? Rather than, okay, I'll see you next week. And she could be a statistic next week. So you need to risk assess, even if she doesn't share the same view on that risk assessment. You've got to engage her, build trust, find out what it is where she thinks the hope is. During the role play, I'm going to be looking for, did you identify the issues with Maria that she's currently dealing with? For example, you must recognize and verbally state her issues to Maria. So that means you will paraphrase. So Maria, I'm hearing you say that the most important thing to you right now is the well-being of your baby. And I can see that's very important for you, Maria. And that's going to be one of our priorities. That'll be our top one. And then understand and relate to her experience of stereotypes and inequality within the community. Young parent, you're a kid yourself. Why do you think you can have a child? There's a lot of stereotypes that sit around young parents. Drug users, there's stereotypes around drug users. People who are unemployed or underemployed. There's a lot of labeling and judgment around that. So we need to talk about some of those things, but not dwell on them, but talk about them and acknowledge them. I want to hear that in paraphrasing. You must be able to identify the types of issues and challenges and risks that young, unemployed, pregnant, and abused victims in society face. And that may just be, it can be really hard being a young parent. There can feel like there's a lot of judgment, but I want to let you know that we are here to walk beside you. And there are some great services that we can put around you as well, Maria. And that's what I would like to do. I would like to be able to come up with a plan that you feel comfortable with. And together we'll work through your plan and get these supports around you. How does that sound? Get her consent. Identify the impacts of long-term unemployment and lack of education for Maria. Don't pitch at a high level, because she's been with Lachlan since she was 16 and a half and started using ice then. There's some developmental delays. So you must be able to analyse the potential issues for her. If she's not working enough, she might not be able to afford to have somewhere to stay and be able to look after Bub. So they're a goal now. That's a strategy to work on together. What are her needs, priorities, health and well-being? Communicate effective services and next steps. For example, display empathy, speak in an appropriate tone and pace. Don't rush it. Clearly articulate what the next steps are in the plan and ensure that Maria understands. And you will only know. What else would you like to cover? Have I explained that for you? Let me show you the plan that we've got for today and what I'm going to do in the next couple of days or couple of hours, it might be, depending on the motivation that Maria has. And then, Maria, this is what I want you to be able to do. So we don't do for a client what they can do for themselves. That's rescuing rather than us collaborating. We want it to be strength-based. And Maria's walked in through the door. She's seen her GP. She has said that she wants to keep this baby. She's very motivated to be a mum to this bub. She knows where the cause of the risk is, and she's scared to leave. But she wants the baby more. So she's walked in the door for support. And that's our role. We are her youth support worker. So provide reassurance, positive, strength-based, and give examples on how your service and your role will be able to support and be effectively helping her. And then you can keep reviewing this plan. We can try this, but right now, what would be the thing that you would like me to help you with most of all today, Maria? And if that's emergency accommodation, in role play land, it's magic. You can pick up the phone and you'll get a bed for Maria immediately. Don't send her off to the Department of Housing. Don't send her off to a housing service provider. Stay with her and make those phone calls. Advocate for your client and get her a bed. If she's ready to do so. If she goes, oh, I'm not sure yet, that's okay, Maria. I'm here for you when you are. In the meantime, I want to give you this little brochure. It's got some numbers. Tuck this away safely where nobody can see it. And I want to show you this website. It's you can go to it. If you're caught using your phone, you can automatically get out and it doesn't leave a trail. So when we started on these clustered units, we actually went into a website for domestic family violence and we showed that. So please don't worry if you've just started, because we have used the website in our first week and second week. Okay. But I will make sure that you've got all of that information. I don't want anyone to feel who's just starting that they need to do this unit. You can absolutely 100% park this till you are well and ready. Okay. There's lots of other softer, easier units. This is a doozy, this one. So, so much so that it's 50% of your work placement hours. So that's your part A. You'll need to upload the recording, which I'll be providing for both Zoe and Naya. And you will also need to complete a document before you upload the recording that you receive, which is consent to collect and share information form, which you will find in your first access site. So you'll need to do that. The consent form needs to align with what I hear you say in your role play. So when they're supporting documents that are needed for role plays, they cannot be in conflict with each other. I can't get an amazing academic written when none of that actually happened in the role play. I look at both of those things to align with each other. And there's a spot there for you to drop that in. Okay, so that is for the task part A, and then part B, sorry, which Zoe and Naya will both do, is that we're going to observe you participating in another role play to confirm you can perform to industry standards and expectations. There's a role play instruction. So Naya, you can go into your task and get both of those. There are role play instructions in part A and part B, and you'll need to do that. And I recommend that you do that now and download both of those, because you're going to need it for Maria and you're going to need it for Michael. So it can be played by another learner in your class, family member, friend. And you can, of course, do that. However, I've not yet seen a family member or friend, unless they are highly skilled, be able to play the role of Maria or play the role of your supervisor. So I encourage you to do that with peers from your class, or if you've got a family member or a friend that is skilled and does have knowledge, who is a colleague or works in the sector, or can align with that and bring that authentically into the space, and they're prepared to rehearse it and you coach them, then by all means do that. Otherwise, if you pick someone from your class, they've got skin in the game, because you're also going to play the client for them. So if you reciprocate that, you're going to get a stronger underpinning knowledge come forward for you and build on your skills. So in the community sector, we do safety plans and we do case management plans, and we do this collaboratively with the client. So we are not there to give advice, nor are we there to represent the legislation. We as workers work inside the legislation within the scope of our role, but we are not there to impart the legislation on our client. We are a support worker. So it's good to have that background knowledge, but you may be sitting in there with the Department of Housing, with Centrelink, with Child Safety, with your client, and support them to find their voice in that space. Now, if you've got that knowledge, you are beneficial to your clients, because you've got an idea what that department is going to expect to see, to be satisfied that Maria has done sufficiently to prove that they are able to provide safe, supported, supervised parental care for an unborn child and for themselves. So she's too old to go into the care of child safety at 18. If she was 17, she would still very unlikely be put into care. So if you're doing the role play, you need to have the instructions from part A and the instructions from part B. You'll need to have read consumer needs policy, inclusion and diversity policy and procedure. You will have the template, case notes, Maria Capella. When you click on that, it has the case notes. And then you're going to have the client feedback, which will be the report around Maria Capella. You will need to have recording, and this will be done in 2 separate recordings. It gives you the scenario again, and step 2 and part B, and it just covers it again for you. Okay, so that's our Maria and our Michael scenario. I've got 7:32. Let's take a 10-minute break and get yourself together. When we return from our 10-minute break, Zoe, would you like to go first?
Sorry, I was just on mute. Me being the support worker, sure, I can go first.
Yeah, wonderful. So Naya, you're going to come in as the person playing Maria, but you can be Naya, or you can be Mario if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that we do tend to gender identify in this situation, but for the purpose of this scenario, we need to be flexible in that. I don't want you to feel like you've got to act like a female, but I want you to act like the person with those issues. All right. Okay. Do you feel comfortable with that, Naya?
Mario, yep.
Right. Because as a worker in this sector, you're going to get a Maria and you're going to be a Michael at diploma level. So, okay. So let's take 10 minutes and I'll see everybody back here. And we'll jump straight into our role play. I'll hit pause. Great. And over to you, Zoe.
Okay, so Zoe Gonzalez, I'm here with Naya and we're doing the clustered unit CHCCS007, CHCDEV005, task 3 of 5, part A and B. So I will be playing myself as a youth support worker or community support worker who has just received a referral who's come in today, Maria. Okay, so this is part A. Hi, Maria, welcome. Please come in, make yourself comfy.
Hi, my name is Maria, but I prefer to be called Mario.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you for letting me know. My name's Zoe, and I love to be called Zoe. So, like I said, I'm here as a community support worker. I'm here to make you feel comfortable and safe. So, can I offer you a drink, a water, something hot, anything like that?
I'm all right.
Okay, no problem. Take a seat if you're comfortable, or stand or move around. I've got a great bookshelf you can look at as well. Some interesting reads in there. Just wanted to let you know you're safe here. I'm here to listen to you and I'm here to hear all about you and what's brought you here today and see where we go from there. So whenever you're ready, we can talk about what's brought you here today.
You respect my privacy and confidentiality?
Of course, it sounds like that's important to you. So I will let you know that anything you say to me and anything that I take notes on is private and confidential. It's all secure and we don't let anybody have that information. I do need to let you know that there are some cases where I may, and that's with your consent. So if you want me to pass on your information to anybody with your consent, I can do that. If there's any legal requirements, I will pass on your information. But other than that, what's said between us is kept between us.
Thank you very much.
That's okay. If that makes you feel comfortable, I'm glad I could help you with that. Yeah, whenever you're comfortable, tell me what brought you here. Tell me what it took for you to come to us today.
Yeah, as I said, my name is Mario. I prefer to be called Mario.
Yeah.
I'm 18 years old. I'm in a relationship, 18 months old. And recently my partner have been abusing me, hitting on me. First when the relationship started, I was working part-time in a local factory, but my partner started using ice and he introduced me into using it with him. And I'm in the verge of losing my job. I don't want to lose my job, so I try to stop using it, but each time he's taking it, he's always forcing me and talk me into joining him, which I don't want to. But recently, because I wasn't feeling well because of the abusive behavior getting on me. I went to the doctor and I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
And when I told him, he didn't take it well. So I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for the life of my baby. Uh, I don't want him
That
to
is,
keep beating me because he always say he's gonna keep beating me until I lose the baby. So I don't want that to happen. So I want to go far away from him as possible. He's always threatening me if I ever try to leave him or go away. He's gonna find me. He's gonna do something to me that I will regret.
right.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's the situation I'm in, and I'm just looking for a way out.
Okay. Wow, Mario, thank you for sharing that with me. That's very courageous of you to tell me all that information, and I thank you for letting me in on that. It sounds like there's a few things that are happening for you at the moment. So there's some drug use that I'm hearing that perhaps your boyfriend is forcing you to do. He can be quite abusive and violent towards you, whether you're taking the drugs or not, by the sound of it. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And you found out you're pregnant. So is that positive news for you?
Yeah, I want to keep the pregnancy.
Yeah. Okay. That's 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 a big decision for you, and you sound very positive and very motivated to do that. So um, that's great for you. And but I did hear you say that your boyfriend Lachlan, he wasn't happy about that, and that he was threatening to hurt you so much that the baby would die. Is
Yes,
my understanding that?
he threatened that he's gonna hit me until my
Yeah.
pregnancy.
Wow, that's big. How does that make you feel?
Frustrated, and I just want to get away from him before he do something bad for my baby and myself.
Yeah, of course. You want to protect yourself and the life of this child that you're carrying now. Um, so that's a big thing to take on, and you should be proud of yourself for wanting to protect yourself and the life of your baby. Um, so that's that's a lot. And I heard you say that you wanted to get out. Is that out of the relationship? Is that out of the house that you're currently in? What does that mean for you?
I wanna get out of the house.
Yeah.
I wanna
Okay.
far away from him because he's not taking the news very well, and I don't
Okay.
want him to harm me. I don't want him to harm my baby. So I just want to get far away. But he always threatening that if I go far away from him, he
Mm,
hurt me and my baby if he find us. So
okay.
that's the situation
So
right now.
that
I just hope you can help me with some solutions.
okay. So me as a community support worker, I'm here to work with you so we can work together and we can put together some ideas and some strategies to help your situation. Um, so your situation sounds very tough on you at the moment, and I can see that you feel um, motivated to leave, which is a huge decision, and well done on wanting to do that. So I'm here to offer some resources and some guidance and work with you to get you where you need to be. So I'd like to ask you some more questions, but I just wanted to ask, between us, there's some information and a piece of paper that I need you to sign. So I'm going to explain what it is, and you can agree to sign the piece of paper or you can disagree. That's completely up to you. But it's a form to collect and share your information. So as I said, I will help you to find services that might help you with your drug use or to help with the baby, prenatal care, anything that I need to go outside of our services. I need this piece of paper to give them your information. So if you're happy to sign that so I can help you in that way, that would be great. Do you understand that piece of paper that I'm talking about?
Yeah, is it a confidentiality agreement between me and you that you're gonna keep my information safe?
It's part of that. So this consent to collect and share information is that we collect the information, we keep it private and confidential, but you're also giving me your consent that when I need to pass on your information to, say, temporary housing or any sort of care outside of our services, that I can do that. How does that sound to you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, wonderful. So tell me a bit more about how you're feeling at the moment. How do you feel within yourself, your physical health, your mental health? Tell me a bit more about that.
I'm frustrated. I'm feeling miserable because of what he's been doing to me, and
Yeah.
I have come to the conclusion that enough is enough.
Yep.
And because I'm having a baby, so I want to have a change for my baby. I want to change the environment because I don't want my baby to come into this world and grow into that toxic environment.
Okay.
So
So
I'm doing this for my unborn baby. I'm want to take responsibility.
okay.
For my,
That sounds really positive. So tell me, who might you have in your life right now that can help and support you?
I have no family in the state right now, but that's why I'm here for you to give me the necessary help.
Okay. All right. And just let me know, what do you think might happen if we if we don't make changes, or if you don't want to make the changes? Where might you see your life heading if no changes are made?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough question, isn't it? Um, so let's see, you want to leave Lachlan. Um, are you still currently using the drugs, ice?
I'm trying to leave. I'm trying to quit, but
Yeah.
I would need some rehabilitation center to go to and to leave
Okay.
because it's a process.
Yeah, of course. And that's where I'm here to help. So we can discuss those needs of support in stopping using the drugs. Now, you said you had some part-time work. Is that continuing? Are you still working at the moment?
It's off and on because I'm in and out of hospital.
Yeah.
It's not like before. So and right now, getting to know that I'm pregnant, I would like to have a more like full-time job for me
Mhm.
to come.
And what do you see happening when you do get a full-time job? How do you see that making things better for you and your unborn baby?
Gonna make life easier for me. It's gonna make
Yeah.
life.
Having a bit more money, taking care of you and feeling more safe.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you've said you want to leave Lachlan. So at the moment, that's where you're living, and you've said you have no family support. Um, so is that something that, do you think that that's something we can look into for you? So some temporary accommodation to start with, looking to make that more permanent. Is that something you'd like help with?
Yeah, somewhere safe.
Okay, somewhere safe. Safety is, I'm hearing that safety is a big concern for you. So is that what you feel your most important need is at the moment, to be safe for you and your baby?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's also talk a little bit about the things that I'm going to offer, or the things we're going to speak about together. So this first initial meeting with you and I is a intake and assessment. So I take in all of your information and your needs and your concerns and your issues. We talk about your needs and we sort of list them, which you think is the most important, perhaps what I think is the most important. and then we can work together to come up with a plan of what we might do today, what we might do in a week, and where you can see improvements being made for your situation. But of course, you also have the right to refuse any services from us. So if I'm saying something you don't like, please tell me. I'm here to get the best for you. So working together, we can come up with a great plan that's going to suit your high priority need. And to me, that's the safety for you and your baby. Am I right in that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what you think you might be doing well at the minute. Where can we draw strength from?
Come again?
So tell me something that you're doing great in your life at the moment. Where do you think you've got some strength? Where are you pulling this strength from? Even coming to me, coming to us, that's a big strength. So, but tell me something that you feel is a good strength in your character.
I'm a good listener.
Yep.
I'm a hard worker,
Fantastic.
and I love to interact with people. So yeah,
Okay. So does that mean that perhaps if you're looking for more full-time employment, what sort of industry or interest might you look at for work if you're not interested in the factory? Because I can't imagine you talk to many people at the factory.
I would like to go into the youth work to be
Right?
able to educate my peers of same issue that I have gone through, to educate
Yeah.
them.
Wow, that's amazing. So you think that perhaps from your experiences and perhaps trauma, you can help other people in a similar situation.
Yes.
That's a great strength and a really positive outlook. So let's talk about firstly the desire to leave. So that's your number one priority, is to leave Lachlan and the situation for the safety of you and your child. Are there any other measures that you might think of to make sure Lachlan's out of the picture?
Yeah, I want him to. My first priority is to leave for the safety of
Yeah.
me and the baby. Then I can leave him totally.
Yeah. You want to leave him totally, so no contact. So there's services that can help because I heard you say that he's quite violent and he's sent you to the hospital a few times with some assaults. So there are some services that I can refer you to that help with the legal side of that. So where we can look into taking out a restraining order on Lachlan, so can have no contact with you. Is that something that I've got right there?
Yeah, I would like to leave the house first because right now,
Okay.
I try to say I'm leaving him, he may do
Yeah.
something. So
So, yeah, you're worried about your life, your safety.
for my safety. So I
Yeah.
want to leave the house. Then I can put a restraining order between me and him. Because
Okay.
I'm under the roof and start bringing discussion of restraining order, maybe he may lose his cool and do something.
Okay. So that's something else that we could look at implementing is if you were to go to some emergency accommodation as of today, if that's what you were wanting, we could look at providing transport options for you at a better time, at a safe time to go and get your belongings from the house that you're in so that Lachlan isn't there. So you're safe in that regard. How would that sound?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then along the way as well, so I know you're interested in long-term employment, but we can help you out with setting up some meetings with social support services. So, setting up Centrelink accounts for financial assistance, rent assistance, everything, even the baby payments when baby does arrive, you're eligible for something when baby comes. How does that sound to you?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, I know that your number one priority is to get out of the house, and we can definitely put something in place today if you're ready for that. I just thought we could talk about some other things that might come up in our next meeting, because I really would like to see you again after today's initial meeting. So I also want you to know that everything that we sort of talk about or even put in plan, it can always be reviewed. So if counselling services was something you'd like but weren't working, we could change that. And I'd make sure I check in with you regularly. I want you to feel that you can always come and chat to me and tell me things that are working, that aren't working. So I just wanted to double check how you feel if things didn't get better in regards to unemployment, and being a young mum. How do you feel that people perceive you at the moment? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll feel embarrassed among my peers because of my situation and what I'm going through. So that's why I want to go back on my feet, at least to be doing something to make me forget about all those traumas, all those things that my boyfriend was doing for me. I just want
Yes.
to, yeah.
So do you feel any kind of judgment from others, or do you feel that they treat you differently because you're a
Yeah,
young woman who's pregnant and perhaps
yes, in
not?
a relationship, yeah. I
Yeah,
got
that's really,
judgment from my peers.
yeah, that's hard to take on board, isn't it? When people don't see the true you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see you believe in yourself. And that's amazing, because sometimes I think when you come from a violent relationship, perhaps the survivor blames themselves. Do you ever feel that way?
yeah. Sometimes I just think that I shouldn't even get into that relationship.
Yeah, it's hard when we doubt ourselves and then go about feeling guilty for what we've done. Have you ever felt like that?
Yeah, I feel guilty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you've taken amazing steps to remove yourself from that situation, and you can see that there is something better, and making some small changes to start. How do you feel that's going to impact, say, the next week or two of your life?
I think it will have a positive impact. I mean, it's telling you today, at least you have take some weight off my shoulders. So
Yeah,
glad I had to talk to you today.
that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I hope that you can feel proud of yourself for doing what you're doing. So I also just wanted to touch a little bit on where you're sitting, because I know you said you've been in your relationship for 18 months. So you were quite young when you started to see Lachlan. I'm wondering if there's any link between, say, leaving school early and perhaps being led to drugs. Do you think that played a part?
Yeah.
You do. How does school feel for you? Is it something you're looking at redoing in the future at all?
Going back to school right now. What I have a baby on the way.
Mm,
It's not ready at ocean right now.
okay. And what do you think might come from not continuing education? So if you weren't to go back to school, or further your education or finish high school, is that going to improve future prospects, do you think? Or
Yeah, of course. If I had to finish high school, maybe for my education, maybe it could go far with me.
yeah, I think it could. But that's something we can definitely talk about at a later date, because I know that you've said that safety is the main important factor for you, and I agree with you there. So I think at this point we should definitely get you into that temporary accommodation as of today. Are you happy to do that?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I will make those phone calls right now while you're comfortable in the office. And from there, I think if you were happy to come back in tomorrow and we could have another session to maybe talk about how we can retrieve your possessions from Lachlan's place, and then maybe come back to me with who might be a possibility to have as a contact, whether it be distant relatives or even your parents. If you've fallen out with them, there could be a chance of reconnection if that was something you're interested in. But perhaps you could have a think and maybe come back to me tomorrow with some
Yeah,
options there.
I will think about that. Our next meeting, I will let you know.
Okay, that sounds really good. I wanted to say that you've done great today. You've shown true strength and quality. You know, your character's strong and you're so determined for yourself and your unborn child, and that's a big strength. And also congratulations on your baby. I can see you're excited, so that's very exciting. So for now, let's put in the plan of emergency accommodation, coming back in tomorrow, and we'll discuss further the contact with parents or friends or family, organising transport or a safe time to get your belongings from Lachlan's house, and any sort of other services such as drug counselling, anything else you might see of benefit in the next coming weeks. For the time being, I just wanted to ask, have you got any resources on hand if you got an abusive phone call from Lachlan, or if he came to find you? Would you know who to contact or who to get help from?
Not exactly.
Okay, well, I've got a great little brochure here that's got some emergency contact numbers. It's even got some information on websites that you can go to in your own time, and there's a safe exit button if anyone was to ever come and look at what you were doing if you felt unsafe at any time. So I'll give you that. But for now, let's get you into that accommodation. I'll make those calls and we'll plan to see you again tomorrow. And Mario, thank you again for coming and chatting. I enjoyed meeting you.
Thanks for your help too.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
All right.
Are we going straight into part B, Vicky?
Yep, straight in there.
Okay. So are you good, Naya? Are you good for the next part?
You're now Michael.
Yeah, part B. Oh,
Part B.
I'm
Yeah.
now Michael.
You're my supervisor. Are you okay to do part B?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So am I.
Okay.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for doing this meeting with me. I know you wanted to discuss the case of Maria or Mario, as she told me that she liked to be called. So let's start.
Okay. Hi, Maria. I'm Michael from the youth services here. I learned. I don't even know. Can we start?
Yes, let's start. I am Zoe, playing the community support worker, and I am coming to see Michael, my supervisor, to discuss Maria's case and how the plan is going.
Michael is the supervisor.
Yes.
Oh, so I'm the supervisor. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, are there questions you wanted to ask me, Michael, about the case with Maria?
Yeah. Zoe, how was the outcome of the meeting between you and Maria?
So Maria was a very strong and motivated young woman who came to us with some very complex needs of safety, drug use, insecure housing, dependency, very vulnerable young lady. However, she had some amazing goals, and they were for the safety of herself and her unborn child. They were to try and stop using ice, the drug, to be able to secure long-term employment, safe housing, and the possibility of a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend. She also would come back to me and talk about contact with her parents, which they seem to have an estranged relationship, so that she's got some other support systems in place. We also discussed the goals of maybe some financial stability and assistance in that areas, and how we could assist in those areas. So now it's been a couple of months, and since Maria first came into First Access, and she has not touched the drug ice in those 2 months, which is an amazing achievement for her. So that progress has come along really quickly, and she's very proud of herself about that, which, you know, as she should be. She's secured housing, so temporary accommodation was first sourced, and in the women's shelter, and then we put in some applications for more permanent housing, which she was successful. We were able to help her with her Centrelink assistance and the support to contact her parents. So the progress in her plan is coming along nicely. So she was also doing counselling sessions for drug therapy sessions as well. And we also looked at some art therapy sessions as well, which we thought might be a nice idea. So that's where she is. Some of her goals have been met, and she's progressing along very nicely with our plan.
So her needs, her emergency need was a housing for she and her baby safety.
Yes. So yeah, the housing need has been sorted. So she's responded well to all the services that we've supplied. She's made great progress. She's still quite scared of her ex-boyfriend. He's contacted her over the phone, which brought up those feelings of fear and anxiety. So we've talked about arranging to change her phone number, and perhaps that I could go with her to do that. And then we've also just made adjustments to her plan as well for that no contact with the ex-boyfriend.
Did she talk about leaving the partner permanently, or she just want to get away from the partner for now until she can figure out what to do next?
So she has left her ex-boyfriend with no contact, and that's why the phone call from him had her quite scared, and we put in place that we would change her phone number so there's no contact. She's scared that he still may show up to where she's currently living, but I did reassure her that all her information is private and that we don't give any information out to anyone. She was a little reassured by that. So that's where that was sitting. There was an issue at the art therapy as well. So she went along to the first session and didn't enjoy it. She felt very intimidated by the leader and didn't find communication very well with him. So she didn't attend, which she told her counsellor about, and there's been amendments made there that art therapy she'll no longer go along to, but instead she'll do another session with the counsellor. So that's how we've come around that, and I just let her know, reassured her that that's okay. Sometimes services don't work out, and we make changes and we can adjust and we can try something new again at another time when she's comfortable.
Yeah, we should arrange another. If she's not comfortable with the therapy session, we can try to arrange another place that is comfortable for her. Maybe she's
Yeah.
not among the people that is there. Maybe we can change location. book somewhere else that she'll be more comfortable for in the next session.
Yeah, definitely. So that's something that we did speak about, that we could change that, and she was quite comfortable to just continue with her counsellor and do an extra session with him rather than do the art therapy. She's not quite ready to participate in a group type therapy session just at the moment.
Yeah, we'll give her time. When she's ready, we'll book the necessary what she wants. We'll do it for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, so there are some other services that I was hoping that we could, or that Maria requires. So the more check-ins with us. So another session to see how Maria's going with her new job. She secured a new job at a cafe and she's doing well there. So just to see that she's being paid correctly, and then to see if she's gone and applied for some of those newborn benefits for when baby does come, because she's, I think, 4 and maybe 5 months pregnant at the moment, so things are moving along, and just to have her prepared, and also just to discuss some prenatal care, maybe classes, help for when baby does arrive, like where to go, who to contact, and also for leave with her new employer, so the employer knows that she's pregnant. So we're hoping that they'll be quite open to having her parental leave, and then when she's ready to return to work, they'll employ her back into her current position, which, you know, she's very happy to do when baby does arrive.
Another question concerning her partner. Did she talk? Did she talk about going forward with the case to court with her partner, or she didn't talk anything about that?
So there's no talk of going to court or anything yet, but she has spoken to some legal services, which we helped her source to look at a restraining order. She's getting legal advice on that. For the moment, they've got no contact because he doesn't know where she is. That's not a guarantee, of course, but she's almost ready to put that into action.
Good job today, Zoe.
Thank you.
Look forward to see her in the next meeting.
Yeah, there was just one additional thing I thought we should maybe discuss, and that was that there's a couple of services Maria no longer needs, so we can take that off her plan. As I mentioned, she was successful in gaining accommodation, which is great. It's permanent accommodation. It's not temporary anymore, so she no longer needs the request for housing assistance or access to the women's shelter. So those services are no longer required, but I think everything else is still current.
All right, thank you today for assisting Maria of her needs. We will look forward to see her in the next meeting. Just check on her before the meeting if she's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have regular phone check-ins, but I'm looking forward to seeing her back in person. Her progress is doing amazingly, and I'm hoping she comes in with some more positive news. Thank you, Michael.
Good job.
That's great. Well done, Zoe. You've hit all those marks. I'm mindful of our time, so I wanted to jump in and go with you, Naya, but just in wrapping up assessor feedback, which is a pass, Zoe, I just wanted to give you some of my notes. You did your priority of needs. You made sure you engaged well with Mario. You kept checking the readiness to move. I thought that was really important, that decision-making phase where she was up to. You looked at the consequential thinking as well, but you pitched it for her to make sure that, you know, it wasn't too high. You weren't jumping in, giving advice. So you pitched to her age and stage. you make sure that you got consent, and a couple of times throughout your process you did that. So informed consent, her own goals, self-determination, some positive reinforcement back, that compassionate inquiry. You worked within the scope of your role. You worked with that hope and healing space for that trauma-informed practice, which I really wanted to see. And then just reinforcing around the supports that if they're not there at the moment, that's something that she could think about in the future. That was great. So you completed your intake and your assessment with compassionate, unconditional regard, looking at all the dignity of risk and the privacy and confidentiality. Well done. So good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so Naya, now you're there, and Zoe is going to be your support worker, and she's also going to be your supervisor. So I'll jump out of this space and hand over to you guys.
So I'm the supervisor. Or?
No, you're the worker first. And then you're going to be the supervisor, and Zoe is going to be Maria, and then she's going to be Michael. You're the worker talking to the supervisor in part B. At the moment, you're the worker talking to the client, and it's the same client that you just did. Instead, you were Mario. Now you're going to be the worker, and Zoe is going to be Maria for you.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Hello, this is Naya Kaplewan. Playing role play CHCS007 and CHCDEV005. I'm playing the role as a youth support worker, and I was referred to talk to a client by the name of Maria. Hello, Maria.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm a bit worried and I'm a bit nervous, and I don't know where to start.
Do you want something to drink or anything I can help you with?
Yeah, I'll
To-
just sit here and have a cup of water, thank you.
All right. So if you don't mind, would you like to tell me what's going on with you?
Okay. Well, I don't go to school. I live with my boyfriend, and he and I take drugs, and we get out of it, and he beats me. I think sometimes I wake up with bruises, sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. I'm 18 and I have a job, but it's only part-time and I don't really go because sometimes I forget. And I've been hurt a few times by my boyfriend Lachlan, and we live together, and I've been to the hospital a few times, and I went to the doctor and I found out I'm pregnant. And I told Lachlan, and he was really angry, and he hit me, and he said he'd keep hitting me and until I lost the baby, but I want to keep it. I'm really excited to have a baby. It's someone I can care for because no one cared for me. So I need help because I want to leave him. I need to look after this baby.
First of all, I just want to ensure you. I just want to tell you that whatsoever you say here today will be private. It will be confidential unless I'm requested to provide for third party. Uh, whatsoever you say here today is safe with me.
So if I tell you this and you have to tell someone, you'd tell Lachlan, would you? Would I tell you?
I won't tell anyone unless it's requested for me to. third party, like police or other agencies, like a housing agency right now, because what you're saying, you are in an abusive relationship. If you want me to help you and I'm getting a third party accommodation for you, maybe I must share your information with them.
Okay, but definitely not Lachlan.
No.
Okay, okay.
So what's your need to what's your priority of need at this moment?
I don't know what that means.
I mean, what you need accommodation or you need to be away from Lincoln?
I need to make me and my baby safe. So I need to get away from Lachlan. I need to yeah, be safe and not have him hurt me or the baby, because I want to keep the baby, so I need to be safe.
Okay. I'm gonna arrange that for you. I'm gonna arrange accommodation for you right now. Are you happy with that?
Well, I don't think that Lachlan will let me move, so I I don't think I can move today. But I know if I tell him, he'll get angry, so I'm not ready to move, but I need to move.
Okay. Anytime you're ready, I'm here. You can come and we can arrange it for you.
Okay. I might be ready tomorrow, but I don't know about today. I need to tell you some other stuff and maybe sort out some other stuff too. Because
Okay.
I think if I leave, I need money, and my job at the minute is not it's not a good job, and I'm probably going to lose my job. So I need help getting a new job because I need money, and I don't have money. So where can I get money?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm gonna arrange the accommodation first. After the accommodation, I'm gonna put you through Centerlink. Maybe they can help you with your finances until you get back on your feet. And when the baby is born, they can pay the baby until you can get back on your feet and start a job and be independent again.
Okay, all right. And they'll still give me money even if I spend it on drugs.
Of course not.
Oh,
Of course not. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna arrange some counseling for you. We're gonna arrange some rehabilitation center for you to be attending, for you to quit the drugs.
okay. That would help, wouldn't it? That would help me to get a job properly, and then I can look after the baby.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And will the people help me not spend my money on the drugs? How will they help me not spend my money on the drugs?
They're gonna help you to quit the drugs.
Okay. That sounds good. I'd like to speak to someone because I don't like taking the drugs. And I think I can stop if I'm away from Lachlan too.
Yes, because he's the one that encouraging you to take the job. So if you are away from him and you go into your counseling, you go into your group meetings, I think it will help you a lot.
Yeah, it probably would help. Yeah, yeah. Because if I stop the drugs, then I won't be with Lachlan, and then he can't hurt me, and he can't hurt the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today, what else you want to discuss with me? You just want accommodation, as you said, for your next meeting. I'm gonna book you in for tomorrow. Is that okay?
Okay. I Lachlan's going to ask where I'm going. He wasn't home today, but if I come again tomorrow, I don't know if I'll be safe.
So he don't know where you are today.
No,
You don't know if you are here today.
no, not today. But he'll be home tomorrow, so I don't know if I can come tomorrow.
So what time will you be available for you to talk to me again?
Uh, Well, he works in the afternoon, so maybe in the afternoon, but I don't think I can get here again.
I don't think you can get to me, so maybe I can come to you if that's fine by you.
I don't think that would be safe. Maybe I'll just get the bus.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
So I'm gonna book in for tomorrow for you to come see me in the afternoon. But I will give you some website if you need to talk to someone, if you need third party organizations. I'm gonna give you some numbers to call before tomorrow to come to me.
Okay. Are they people like you? But what do they do?
They have to talk to you like if he's want to harm, if he want to beat you again, like yeah, if he
Okay.
want to beat you, if he forces you to take the job,
Yeah.
numbers are gonna give you for you to call.
All right.
Gonna
So
help
they'll help me. They'll come and help me.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll take those numbers and then I'll come back here tomorrow to talk more to you about stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what happens if he hurts me again and he wants to hurt the baby? Like he wants to punch my tummy and make me lose the baby.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving you those numbers. If you try to do anything for you, you can call this number and they can come to your rescue.
Okay. Okay. Is that is that is that all that we do today, or do we do anything else, or do I what do I do from now?
But now you just go home. As you said, you don't need emergency accommodation today because you said you don't want to move today. I can force you, so you have to agree to whatsoever that's going on. So you say you're gonna come tomorrow and we're gonna do everything tomorrow. So you can go home today. I'll give you those numbers. If he try to hit you, if he try to do anything harmful to you, you can call those numbers and they'll come to your rescue until tomorrow. Then when you come tomorrow, we can arrange accommodation for you. From there, we can we can arrange Centerlink for you payments. And right now you're not working, it can be able to be paying you until you have the baby, or if you want to go back to school or you want to get another job, we can help you in the process.
Okay, I'm just finding it a bit hard because I'm just a bit tired and I can't look after myself and I feel just a bit out of it. So hopefully I can get here tomorrow and we'll sort some things out out then. Okay, that sounds good.
Or you come tomorrow, but I will give you a call to check on you. Whatsoever going on, you can tell me.
Okay, all right.
So I'm gonna book you in for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for that.
Do you want to talk about anything else, or that's all about today?
Well, I've said that I need to be safe and then I need a job and then I need to stop the drugs and those sorts of things, and that I really want to keep my baby, and I don't want to be hurt anymore and I don't want the baby to be hurt. So that's what you've just got, that's what you've just told me, that's all that we do for now?
Yeah, for now.
Okay.
For now, yeah.
Okay. So I'll just come back and talk to you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
So jump into supervisor.
Okay, hi, Naya. I'm Michael, your supervisor. I just wanted to invite you into this meeting today. I wanted to just discuss the new case that's come in, Maria, the young 18-year-old. So, first of all, how did the meeting go, and were any goals set, and the progress of how you're going with her plan of support?
Yeah, Maria is 18 years old, with a 27 years old boyfriend. Uh, he introduced her to drugs, and he's constantly beating on her, and he always force her if she don't want to take the job because she want to quit due to her work. But each time she tried to quit, he always beat on her, and now she just found out that she's pregnant. So now
Okay,
he didn't take the news well. He threatened that he gonna beat her until the baby gonna be removed. So now,
right.
so now she's scared for her life,
Yep.
scared for the life of the baby. So she came to us for us to help her in the
So were
process.
there, yeah, great. And what sort of progress has she made, and the goals that were set for some of the needs that she identified? How's that tracking?
Yeah, her priority need was to leave the house. She wanna leave,
Okay.
she wanna leave the house, but she don't want to leave today. And I can force her because it's something she have to consent to. So
Yeah.
she says she will come tomorrow. So I just assist her with some emergency number in case when she go back to the house and he try to hit on her or he try to force her to take the drugs again. So I just gave her some emergency number that she can call until she's ready tomorrow because she says she's not ready for us to
Right.
go to the process today.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that there had been a bit of more time between your initial meeting and now. So, was there any services that were accepted from by Maria, and how is she going with those services?
Yeah, we tried to put her in some counseling group,
Yeah.
and she said she don't want to start any process today. She just came to tell me. So definitely when she comes tomorrow, we'll go through her housing process,
Okay.
accommodation, then we can
Yep.
try her in some counseling group and rehabilitation area for her to quit because she just want to quit the drugs. She want to quit taking drugs, so we can put her through counseling, rehabilitation centers.
Yeah.
So,
So, have you had any other contact with her? Any new developments that Maria's let you know of at all?
nah, she didn't give me any development.
Okay.
I said today, she said she just want to talk. She don't want me to do, she don't want me to go through the housing process. So she have to
Oh,
consent. So I just let her, and I told her I'm gonna call her to
yeah.
check her, and I gave her a few numbers to call in case of emergency, in case he tried to hit on her again or
Yeah.
try to force her to take the job.
Yeah. That's great resource for her, and I hope that she was understanding of how that works, and um, that was a good resource to give to her. So could you think of any other additional resources that you might, in your next meeting with her, that you might recommend or discuss for her to move forward?
Yeah, she said she want to go back to a full-time job, so maybe we can look for employment for her.
Okay. Did she mention any further education? I know you said, I think that she dropped out of school. Did she mention anything like
Yeah,
that?
she says her concern is to look after she and the baby for now.
Okay.
So she want to get a full-time job because the job she's doing right now is just a part-time, and now the baby is on the way. She needs something stable and stuff. So in her next meeting, we're gonna try to look for something permanent for her to start doing.
Okay. That sounds good. And so if Maria didn't accept any referrals or services in your initial meeting, I guess there's nothing that she no longer requires. I think that it's clear she requires substantial support moving forward. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, moving forward, we need her because she's 18 years old. She have to consent to everything. We can force her. We just put it
Yeah.
on the table, or if she wants to go through it, she give her consent. We can go through it. Like today, she said she don't want us to go through the housing process. So I told her when she can be available. She said tomorrow. So hopefully, when she comes tomorrow, she will be willing to accept whatsoever will be assistant will be able to give to her.
Okay, so that's great. That there's a meeting organised for tomorrow. I'm hopeful Maria comes along and that you can discuss some more services, and perhaps she's a bit more willing to look into those and maybe have a variety of services that she may need. She's 18, so she might not understand fully what's available to her. But okay, so let's see what comes about from tomorrow's meeting. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that, and we'll have another discussion. That sounds really good. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thank you for the update. I look forward to another one.
all right, thank you.
Thanks.
Well done, both of you. That's great. So everyone come back on camera if you're there, and you get a chance to, just in our last 12 minutes that we have together, I would really like to get just briefly some self-reflection, how you think you went, Zoe, how you think you went, Naya. And then if anyone's got any other questions that would like to ask Zoe and Naya both, what's it like sitting in the chair? What were you waiting for? Just ask some open-ended questions where you would like to see the client go. Keep in mind it's the same role play, but two completely different workers. So we have some workers, and we know from the beginning, Naya's coming from a completely different industry. So entry level is the approach that Naya is taking. Whereas with Zoe, who's almost completed her diploma, and has access services, maybe as a consumer, as a parent for her child and children, and then working around others. So we have our own lens over this as well. That's the differences in workers, and were we still there? And we were. So keeping in mind which worker and at what level that worker might be at. So entry level was where I put you, Naya. I hope that's okay and that feels comfortable. And Zoe, I put you as in ready to step into that space. And that was evident in your work. But who's got questions and who would like to do, and then we'll just do a quick summary from both Zoe and Naya as we wrap up this part of the recording. Who's got questions? Who's scared of this? Oh, Maria. I know you didn't say you.
My hand up.
What's your question?
My question is, in the beginning, when we're disclosing and we're just like gaining consent, don't we have to disclose that we will be, everything is kept confidential as long as there's no harm to yourself or there may be harm to others?
Yes,
That's
the
yes.
informed consent. So
Yes.
when being coached, like, are you going to tell anybody about our conversation?
Yes.
It's one part of it. The other part is the why we do this. So
Yes.
I would tell someone, you would know I was telling someone, and here is why I
And
would
here is
tell
why.
someone. So that's where informed consent comes in. Good point.
Yeah, so then when it come down to with the abuse, I come from the extreme end of things, right?
Yes.
Just so, yeah. So my initial thing would be that I would be advising that I would be moving this up the chain a little bit because of the abuse and
that's what
because of the baby.
Yeah, and that's what the supervisor session is in part B,
Yeah.
is that is up the chain. So
Yes.
you talk to your supervisor and go, like she's presenting with bruises, the GP referred her here. I have grave concerns about her safety. I'm going to put her at high risk. That'd be where I'd go with my supervisor. That is the disclosure. And then what are the policies and procedures? What are the code of conduct? And it asks us to do a bit of writing and in this supporting in documents. So what we haven't got with the role play, we absolutely have to strengthen and make sure we back that up with our knowledge skills as well. Yeah, good point. I might come over to Leah and then over to Katie. Thanks, Maria. That was good points.
My question's for Naya. Naya, when you played the support worker, I just want to say that I enjoyed your role and how you conducted yourself, because I found that the simplicity that you had, I wanted to know how you felt, because you kept really calm and you put first things first, and you had a processing attitude in staying calm. And I thought, how did you feel, because you have a female client, she's pregnant and there's a lot of things going on there, but for you as a male support worker, did you find that if you kept calm, you could allow the role play to unpack itself, and that Zoe played that role where your skill base will grow, but you really reiterated the next appointment and let that client really decide for themselves, the bravery to come in, listened. But did you find it okay inside yourself to sit calm and just say, I will see you at that next appointment tomorrow? Because many don't come back maybe, or the fear. And I thought you did really well. Do you think you did well with that calm attitude you had?
Yeah, because everything I do, she have to consent to it because she's 18 years old. I can't force her to do anything out of her way.
Yeah.
I have to keep calm, and she's the one that's in the abuse. So I can be like anxious. I have to be calm for her.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate you on that, because that's not an easy role, and I thought you did it very well.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Katie.
I don't know, I have a few questions. But the first one is about her workplace. I know that it is unsteady at this point in time due to her addiction to ice. When finding her a new place, or relocating her, would we help her contact her workplace? Because she might have a shift that comes up or something like that, but she won't be able to come, and whether he knows where she's working and he might turn up to work or things like that. Would we help her be with her, calling her workplace to see if
First of
that?
all, yeah, so there's two approaches. Both Zoe and Naya had good strategies around that. Is one, I'd be asking her, what's your next roster? and she's already in the description, it said that they've cut her hours back. She's worried about losing her job, but it is about the priorities. And one of those things would be, are you expected at work tomorrow? That would be one of the things, because Naya's got an appointment with her tomorrow. But Zoe, you're going to pop her into accommodation tonight because that's where it went for you. So with that in mind, we would still take it back to Maria. Maria, do you feel going to work helps you take your mind off things, or do you feel unsafe at work? If you're not at home, that Lachlan might come looking for you. Tell me what you think might be the most important thing for you now. Is it accommodation and work, or do you think that maybe you could get some time from work while we get the other things? Thinking Maslow's hierarchy of need, that first things first, you know, the accommodation as well. So yeah, there's risk assessment in there as well, I understand, but both of them had a different kind of Maria to work with, or Mario. So we've got to take it back to them because she is 18 and we couldn't call work without her consent anyway.
Yeah.
But we'd want her to think about that. So yeah, I'd want to plant the seed. Yeah. And you questions?
Yeah, I just had one more, and that was about how Naya had the Maria that like they couldn't do that today. Like they wanted to have that meeting, but then they couldn't do that today. And I'm thinking, I was wondering if there was maybe additional things that we could give to Maria. I know that was awesome about the giving that pamphlet and the websites to go to if something does happen or if you're feeling unsafe. But I'm wondering if there are additional things, like what if he does end up finding out that she wasn't at home today, or like starts to think maybe she is trying to leave, and something happens overnight and she's unable to make it that next day. Is there something additional we could give to her instead of waiting till the next day and she's not turned up and we're like, well, where is she?
It's a hard space you're in, Katie. I can feel it on you. If the client says not today, then it's not today. We can test it before they leave. You know, we've had a bit of time, we've spoken about it. I was just wondering if I could get a bed for you tonight, would today work for you? Because we've done a bit of engagement, we've had a conversation. But if she's still in that space, no, I don't want to go today. If we load her up with resources, what's the most important thing is that she's got that 1-800 respect, which will automatically call 000, that housing emergency, and then we'll be contacted in our follow-up the next day. It's a hard one, Katie, because I know where you are and I know what you want to do, but you've done it. You've asked the question, they've answered. You can test it again a little bit further down the line. Look, you know, we've spoken a little bit about this, so I wanted to tell you about the accommodation that I want to refer you over to. If I could get a bed for you tonight, and this is where your closed questions come in, would you leave today? Or do you still think tomorrow is a better fit for you? You've got to find out where are they up to in that decision-making process. Even though you want to pick them up and you want to put them somewhere safe, if you do it quickly, it falls over quickly.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so it's got to be their decision. So, and like Naya says, she's 18, we can't force it. We just have to make her feel okay that she was welcome. We've given her some things. If she changes her mind and she does want to get in touch in the morning, I'm on roster. And I've left it here in your notes. Someone else would be able to assist. Yeah. So they're the extra things we might be able to do.
definitely.
options. Yeah.
And I did like how Zoe and Naya both like repeated what the plan was. So by
Paraphrasing was great.
the end, like, of the session, she knew what she's gonna come back tomorrow. She knows she's gonna go to that accommodation, and so I thought that was really good.
Yeah, great. Hakan, question?
Sorry, I'm starving. I had to eat something. But
No, you're right. It is just gone past 9 o'clock, and I'm mindful of our time. So if we could maybe just do the next 5 minutes, get a couple more questions in as well, that'd be great.
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, would it be wise to go through, like, because there is a danger of her, of abuse happening, would it be a good idea to rehearse the safety plan, like to have escape methods, or helping her know what to do to get out of that situation?
Yeah, I do think those free call 24/7 numbers that she was given in the brochure,
Or
they
maybe
would,
how to de-escalate, like to get away from, like let's say if he did find out, or he's in a bad mood and he's gonna attack her,
yeah,
like maybe talk to her more about, like, how does it happen? Is there
I
anywhere
think,
that you can go, where
yeah,
you can access a phone, without escalating the situation or making him more aggravated
yeah. I
towards you?
think you're right. Like, it's good to know. Do you know what to do if it happens again? Keep in mind, for 18 months, she has been a battered woman. She was battered at 16 and a half, and I would even lean towards that grooming because of the almost decade in the age difference as well. So she's vulnerable. Some of those important developmental years have been impacted by substance misuse as well. Now she's domestic family violence, early school leaver, disengaged from family, at risk of losing her income stream, feeling unsafe. But these things were existing. The one thing, the hope and healing that's different is about the baby. And so therefore, I think a safety plan would be good. If you thought at any time that you were at risk, here is a brochure on 123. And it's just in a tiny little card that you can slide in. Step 1, remove yourself from the house. Step 2, even if you've got to make an excuse and say, I'm just going to get some milk, or just want to do this, and then exit the property safely. But it depends, because when he's using, she has to use as well. And you're right, it's a very stressful situation and risk, and you could raise it, Harry, for sure. Yeah. Another question, has anybody got some? We all good? Ricky?
Yeah, just quickly, when you said, say you offer a solution for a top priority, a goal that you've acknowledged, if they say no and you say you can just check back later, where does our line draw between having some reflection on the consequences of their decision? So, for example, in that situation, do you reflect back that yes, the decision's yours and that's final, but can we have some level of understanding that by returning to the environment that puts you in imminent danger is your link to drugs, that being in that is exposing yourself once again to a high level of risk? Do you reflect that back to them, or?
In that moment, no, but I would say, what does it look like if you leave? What does it look like if you stay? I would do the options. One of the things, the hardest thing, Ricky, is that dignity of risk. And for 18 months, she's been doing hard drugs. For 18 months, she's been a victim of domestic family violence. She's come in through the door because she's pregnant and because her GP referred her. And it's brave of her to come in through the door. And you're right, I would bring that up again, but I would do that as like, so we've spoken today about a few things. You want to get a place to stay, you want to be away from the harm, you want to make sure that your baby is okay. Given that we've talked about a couple of strategies, and that you're ready to leave, but you're thinking tomorrow, I would still be asking, what if I could get you somewhere tonight, where you were safe, where you did have support? We have to still give her that dignity of risk in decision making. It's hard. Every time you see someone walk out the door, the concern is there. So you've got to put it as an option. What does it look like if you stay? What might it look like if you go and start a new life and have a different place? She is still going to be making those decisions. On average, it takes 7 times for a person to leave a domestic family violence situation. On average. 7 times before they leave and stay, and they walk around that decision. So it depends on whether they're in that, I am now ready to make a decision, or I'm just getting some information, I'm not ready yet. Yeah, so we've got to test that phase. Where are you up to? With Zoe's Maria, she was ready to go today. With Naya's Maria, tomorrow. And you could still circle back. I would be inclined to circle back. We've spoken about it. Are you still feeling like tomorrow is when you'd like to leave? Rather than when she first comes in, it could be a hesitation, not a decision. So I'd want to test what that would be like if she is deciding, or now that she knows. And the question would be, if I could get you somewhere tonight and we could organize to get your clothes, would you like to have me make that call and give you somewhere safe to go now? But if she says, no, I'll see you tomorrow, then that's where we've got to leave it. And I can guarantee you, if you called the police, they would do nothing. There's no crime that's been committed yet, even though the substance misuse, they just get put on diversion program. So, Maria, did you have a question?
No, sorry, I'm trying to click the buttons. I thought I put my hand down.
Oh, no, you're good then. Okay, not
Yes,
a problem.
but you're 100% right. The police will do nothing.
Yes. Zoe.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Naya, well done. That was a doozy. That was hard. Even when I was doing the prep for it, there's a lot to try and get into a 15-minute or less role play. It was so complex, so many things that I could have gone off on tangents about, and having to just bring it back to offering support, not trying to fix her. It was so hard not to try and fix her and to say, you should do this, don't do that, do this, do this. But I found it just extremely intimidating, this case, because there's so many layers, and it would take, I think, more than the initial intake and assessment to get everything you needed to get to.
Yeah, and it'd be hard, Zoe, because she may not come back tomorrow. Or
yeah,
you can
exactly.
put her into accommodation tonight and she does a runner tomorrow. So it's very hard to sit in that space and hold space. The most important thing that all victim survivors will say to you is, acknowledge and believe me, and let me come back as often as I need to.
You both smashed it, though. You both did a really good job.
Yeah, just 2 different Marias. I love that.
That's
great.
Like Zoe, you were just like, you made it just so realistic, because that is really, like, when Naya was doing it, he was ready. But when you were doing it, that's really what, if the GP had forced her to go to that appointment, that's probably what would have really happened. So Naya, you did so well doing what you could do with someone who wasn't ready to comply. Like,
Yeah, that's right. And Katie,
I just had a question. If it would be all right if we asked if she knew how far along she was, so we knew the window of time between, like when she probably wouldn't be able to move, like her where she is, and whether withdrawals might affect, like the withdrawal stress might affect the baby, and if she knew that, is that something we could have a conversation about, or maybe
definitely.
that would be, depending on how the session goes, whether she comes back another day or she goes straight into another place to stay, whether that would be like our next conversation, or this is what we like talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. And I guess where Zoe's coming from is that it is complex. So
Yes.
with Maria, it's Maria, there's so many things today. What I really want to let you know is my role, what we can do with you together. You'll be the one that's making the decisions. And then also, I would want to get my alliance circle with Maria in the middle. The GP is someone, we're someone. And the question was asked, do you have any support people around you? So you add first access in there. Well, now you've got us in there as well. So when we're triaging for suicidality, we look at helpless, hopeless, and alone. The moment she's got a support worker, a young person is not alone. So if we rush it, if we give advice, if we tell them what to do, we just become like everybody else. That's the difference with us as a worker, is that we do that in action. How we apply ourselves is us doing trauma-informed care, even in how we speak, how we set the tone, the pace that we move to. So I would be planning future. So it's like, okay, so there's some things I'd love to know. How far along are you? So we congratulated her. Congratulations, that hope and healing reinforced at the end. Maybe no one has said that. She certainly isn't getting that from the partner. So, and I heard, I just want to have someone to look after myself because I've got no one and no one did that for me. How many times do we hear and see young people create the family or try to create the family that they never had for themselves, as well? So we're right in this very complex youth work. It's a big unit, this one, and it seems like, oh, there's Maria, there's Michael, we'll just go through it, but it can't be that. It must have the depth to it, and that's why we do task 2, because we're really fully researching that, getting all that foundation knowledge in there and the nuances in the assessment. So you've only got 15 minutes, 20 is okay, but the most important thing is to establish trust. And Naya nailed that. No rush, no planning. If she wanted to, she would be pushing back. Even though I could hear it in Zoe, like, ask me again. I could hear it, but it's hard because that's where the worker and Maria were going. And if we rush it, I can guarantee you it won't be their decision, it will be yours, and they've just lost agency again, which they can get that anywhere. She's got no agency in her relationship with Lachlan. She feels like she's losing control over her employability, even her body physically. The only thing that she's got right now is that hope to be a parent, and that may not even go full term. There could be lots of other things that happen and get in the way, but she's going to need a good listening, calm, non-judgmental worker regardless, every step of that way. So we can't even rush to let's have a happy ever after, because all we've got is right now. So, Hakan.
Just a quick question. Is there a danger of losing the baby if like you're on ice and then you go into like rehab? Like, would the withdrawal symptoms have could you lose the baby because of quitting ice? Or, I mean, I'm guessing it's dangerous being on it, but, getting off of it.
Yeah, I think it circles to Katie's question. What semester is Maria actually in? First trimester is, like quite a risk. Any clinical intervention, it may not be a viable pregnancy, but at this stage, the doctor has just said, you're pregnant. The doctor has done the referral, go to First Access, they'll help you, knowing how First Access works, so they're a stakeholder. And then you're going to go and talk to Michael about that. They're the things that I'm worried about. Of course, that could happen, but if we hook her up with those services, every one of those services, those allied health professionals, clinicians, the people in emergency accommodation, they're all skilled workers as well, and they work within the scope of their role and what it is their service does. So we don't have to be everything. We just have to listen, help them find their priority of needs, and walk beside them to access those services and check in with them. Nothing about me without me.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so we're well and truly past our time. We are recording. I'm going to wrap up our part 2. I'm going to do 2 recordings. I'm going to stay and do another one around the theory, walk you through it. This will be called part 2, knowing full well that we did this one first. So I want to say thank you for your input and your questions. They are really valuable, and that will help me build for you in where I think task 1 needs to be. So Zoe and Naya, I'm going to make sure that I give you your written evidence, but you will also have this part 2 converted to a YouTube, which will be your recording. When you watch it back, just look for the time that you came on. I am on between this time and this time. That's my role play. And then I am on between this time and this time for you, Naya. So I'm going to give you the evidence as well. But if for some reason another assessor sees it and they want to give you some feedback and they're not quite sure, then you'll have given them where you are in the recording. You'll also get my feedback in the recording, which they will, and in my written document that you've both passed your skills assessment, but I need you to do your supporting documentation around this as well, knowing that you're both coming from a different place. It asks you to do a self-reflection, and you have both done that. You've done that with your peers and you've had a peer review. So well done, both of you. That's your role play for this one out of the way. So
Thank you.
Congratulations.
A and part B. So let me pause. Welcome back, everybody. We've just wrapped up our couple of role plays we did in real time with 2 different styles of workers, 2 different styles of client input during that process, which of course, when you get to task 3 of your combined clustered units, then you'll be able to put your own style in there and add those layers. There's also a self-reflective part of that. What I wanted to do now for us is to jump over and do another part of this unit and just work around the theory as well. And before I jump out of this recording, though, I wanted to show you what I do when I'm actually marking those role plays. What do I have to get from you as a learner on this particular task? Sorry, let me just open that up a little bit more. Hoping you can see that. Okay. So there are 11 particular assessment points that I look for. I gave a bit of feedback tonight to both Zoe and Naya, our learners who were in class in real time and did their assessment. We don't have class next Monday because it's a public holiday in Queensland. I'm based in Queensland. However, it gives you an opportunity to do some study time on your research project, and also to prepare if you would like to do role plays in the following week. Then that will be our last week. So on the 12th of May, we'll be doing our very final session, and that will also be role plays. So we did 2 tonight, but we can definitely do 30 minutes each. And that'll give you an idea on how many role plays we can actually get through, if there's enough who are ready. If not, I will make time available. You can come together as peers. You don't need to have me there in that recording because you're going to be watching what I would do. But if you want to and you're ready, then let me know. Just send me an email. I'll cover all of that in our very first part, but just for our class, I'm going to be recording our live classes because I've already sent a recording out for the unit and walked you around. Let me just do this with us tonight though. So what I'm going to assess, I think for the first 7 questions, as assessor during the role play, I observed the candidate, that's you, the learner, demonstrate the following: identify the issues Maria is currently dealing with. And you saw that tonight, where both Zoe and Naya did that. The second question is, did I observe the learner understand and relate her experience of stereotypes and inequality within the community? So that pressure and feeling judged about being a young parent, being someone that whose mental health is unstable, someone who might be underemployed or unemployed, the judgment that sits around young people in the community. So I want to hear that. You heard that tonight with one of the learners put that into their role play, which was great. And the third is, did I observe the learners identify the impacts of long-term unemployment and limited lack of education on Maria? So wanting to go back to school, being able to have a future to provide for herself, so that working in the factory, if that's not really what she wanted to do, that maybe returning, so earning or learning is a term that often gets used with young people, because there's a lot of training that is available in Queensland. You can get a Certificate 3, which is called Cert 3 Guarantee, and any young person can go to TAFE. So there's a lot of support for young people to be able to get that qualification or further education. But if there's gaps in literacy and numeracy, then it can be finishing school, doing the senior years. That is actually a course as well. If someone left school early and didn't get their certificate, it depends on what the goals are that the client has. And in this case, some of that was raised with Maria as well. And then, the long-term unemployment, it can really isolate people, and it can, I guess, remove that ability to be able to move out of, being on a fixed income. Okay, so did I observe the learners assess the client's needs? Let me scroll down. Let's go over to the supervisor. So it just runs through a few things. So here it's got during the role play in part B, when talking to the supervisor, Michael, did I see Zoe and I consult with the supervisor to discuss work to be done and services to be provided to a client. So we're really sharing our case plan for the client, running it past our line manager. What might I have missed? Your line manager will ask some questions, reaffirm what you're doing, and then maybe offer some suggestions if there's some suggestions to be made. If there's something bothering you or you're needing some resources, depending on whether you're a level entry worker or someone who is experienced, it'll be pitched in the way that's comfortable for you. So if you don't work in the sector, and this is all completely new for you, it's okay to come in as just starting out in the sector, because your line manager will work with you at that level. So we totally get that. We're not asking you to come in and be a diploma level worker, because if you're just starting out and you've had no experience in the sector, you'll get that experience in your work placement, which is why we have 100 hours of your 200 hours in work placement dedicated to this unit. So it is a big one, and we acknowledge that for you as well. If you would like my support with that, I'm very happy to do that with you. I try and do role plays in classes. One, you've got peers to be able to do that with, and then two, of course, that I can. Oh gosh, sorry, it doesn't love that at all. There we are. That's better. Then I can assess you in real time. Another one is, did you revise services to be provided in consultation with the supervisor to make sure you've got the best possible outcomes for the client based on their social and their cultural issues? And the final one there is, did I observe the learner demonstrate they have the ability to revise organisational policies and procedures to enhance outcomes for clients, groups and the community by ensuring social and cultural issues are better addressed? So if you're sitting in that space talking to Michael, your supervisor, it could be that, I'm not sure that we have enough of those 24-hour supports. I think we need to make sure we've got a go-to card for young people and for our clients, maybe, so that we can give them our number, but we can also give them one of those free call 24/7 numbers. That could be a review of a policy or a procedure that you do at First Access. I heard one of the learners tonight say, maybe I could come and pick you up. If you don't have that, that could be something that you could raise. There are times where we want to be able to do a check. A couple of workers could do that, or we could meet them and take them to lunch. So a lot of the time I do what we call Macca's therapy. So with young people, it's often something to eat is a great way to work with a young person. And on the back of a serviette, plenty of times I've drawn an alliance circle, and so this is where you sit and this is where I think we sit, and here's some extra people I'd like to put around you, provided you've got a spot that you can speak privately and confidentially. Young people can often feel more comfortable outdoors or in a different environment than what they would if you come in, sit down and talk to somebody. So so we don't know, we need to maybe adapt what we're doing. And so I've seen some organizations do a Zen garden. Some organizations will put a basketball hoop. Some organizations will have some gardening outside, because we find that young people are more likely to do that. As an neurodivergent, I always have lots of fidgets. I've got my own clinic. And so I have fidgets, and then I have very large colouring in so that everyone can colour in on that. It's a large one up on the wall. It's 1.4 meters long in length and it's 60 centimeters deep. So everybody that comes in just loves to color in a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So, but that mindfulness stuff is often where a young person will open up. So think about your setting, even though it's virtual, just go, well, I've decided to do this in a garden. That's why I've got a garden behind me today, because we're sitting in the shade. I've got a couple of bottles of water here, and I'm going to talk to Maria where she's comfortable and feels that she's not locked inside a room. But Maria may feel comfortable in a room where it's safe, away from her partner who she has shared that has been abusing her. But we weren't there. We do not know for certain. And that question was asked, but we believe every client that comes in. So we acknowledge what they say is true for them. And we make sure that we are establishing trust so that they want to come back and work with us in whatever stage of decision making that they're in. We'll look at the risk assessment, low, medium, or high risk. It might be high risk when they come in. You may feel that you've lowered that risk to between medium and high, and you may put in a soft contract, which I saw one learner do. We'll talk tomorrow. And if they don't talk tomorrow, then I would do a follow-up. Was this a good contact number for you? Is it safe for me to text you on that number? Checking some of those things in our session and clarifying that for them as well. But not rush. We don't have to get everything done, nailed down and sorted in that one session in the role play. I'm looking for different things as I've just walked you through. Did I observe the learner? Make some suggestions to their supervisor. Did I observe the learner? Use non-judgmental language. Was it creating a safe space for the learner? Discuss what the learner's goals were. Make it strength-based. Did I clarify it by paraphrasing? And did I summarize it by saying, what's the next steps for us here? What would you like to have happen today? And checking in with them throughout that. 15 minutes can go very fast or very quickly. I suggest that you plan and prepare for this. Watch a couple of other people do this if you're not quite ready, and know that this is such a big unit that you could leave this one for your role play. I rarely say that. I think you should finish role plays as you're completing units, but with this one, this would be one that I would encourage you to leave until you feel really ready. And if there's something there that you're doubting, then please reach out to me. I would really be happy to help you with that. But there's task 1, which is quiz, task 2, research report, and there's a lot of depth in that as well. And then of course, task 3 is the role play, which is what tonight was all about. So they did part A, session with the client, part B, session with their supervisor, and some reflection around how they think they went. And they were peer reviewed as well, because we happened to be in class in real time. So it was a great role play, and I want to thank everyone for that. Next week will be a study session, so do a deep dive, find your way around. If you're needing some additional support, go to your learner support officers. I will do another recording so you get part 1 and part 2. I'll make sure I've reiterated all of that for you, how to get that support, what I'm looking for, and some guidance around this unit as well. So thanks everybody for a great night. And we will see you in 2 Mondays. Thanks everyone.